Today is December 25th, 2021. To those of you listening to this presentation today, Merry Christmas. My name is Charles Suter. Today I'm presenting part 10 of my series, The Rational Mind, A Guide to Rational Living, focused this time on rational choosing. My main message: if you can control an outcome, only then can you choose it. Unlike the physical world, your psychological world is much more under your control, because when you're mindful, you can control both your thoughts and your actions. The physical world, however, is much less controllable. So if you want to control your experiences, you must learn how to best deal with both your physical and psychological worlds. In the physical world, which is largely outside your control, you can try to shape your preferred outcomes, but only to the extent that they're controllable. In the psychological world, you have much greater control over your inner state by choosing your thoughts, attitudes, and actions in response to your needs relative to your circumstances. The key to surviving external adversity is choosing your responses rationally through the process of 1, choosing a positive inner state, that's your psychological world, and 2, changing whatever is controllable in the external world. Proposition 1. Rationalists mindfully chooses their attitude and responds to adversity. Accept what you can't control and choose to change only what you can control. Change is an attempt to alter your external circumstances, and choice is an attempt to alter your internal circumstances. The common denominator for people who are undergoing emotional distress is their need to change whatever they don't like about their current circumstances, which is often unchangeable at the moment. You can get rapid relief from your emotional distress by accepting current reality as the starting point for dealing with it. Without acceptance, your emotions are at the mercy of whatever circumstances you can't control and you refuse to accept. When you resist current reality, you constrict your awareness, available choices, because you're so focused on your emotional distress. To get rapid relief from emotional distress, you need to use the psychological principles of awareness, choice, and vision of what choices might be available to give you more of what you want and less of what you don't want. Proposition 2. In the external world, rationalists focus on changes they can control. It's irrational to want something whose input you don't control. If you desire an outcome and cannot control its inputs, then let it go. But if you can control its inputs, then choose to create it. If you have no control over an outcome, then you must accept not having it. A rationalist must choose how to deal with this external environment, both when the circumstances are favorable and unfavorable to his preferences. Attempting to change the external world is dicey because one is not always in control of all the factors necessary to achieve a favorable outcome. So the rationalist chooses wisely based on the extent of his ability to choose and control those factors, and also his willingness to do so, as efforts to change anything requires an intervention of time and resources. The decision to change your external circumstance is often based on your confidence of completing all the inputs required to obtain any outcome. So if you can't control the outcomes you want, or if the cost of change you judge to be simply too high, then you must accept what you have. Proposition 3. In the psychological world, rationalists deliberately choose their inner state. It's irrational to be upset when you can control your thoughts and actions. Suffering emotional distress needlessly is an irrational choice. You can get relief from your emotional distress simply by changing your mental state into one that's positive. Whereas your control over the external world is limited, your ability to control your inner world is nearly certain because you can choose your thoughts and actions. When you get emotionally upset, you have chosen to allow your negative or irrational beliefs to take control of the situation without your conscious intervention. To make rational choices, you must first become mindful of your emotional state and enter into a higher conscious awareness. And remember that you can choose your attitude. If you decide to choose emotional elevation over emotional distress, then you must choose to start thinking and acting in ways that are most likely to produce the emotional experiences you want. My final message: it's irrational to get upset about choices you cannot control. You always have a choice on how to live your life. No rational person would ever choose to become emotionally upset if they could choose the alternative of emotional contentment. This is the exact choice that distinguishes a rationalist from an irrationalist. This is the same choice that you have every time you get emotionally upset. While no one wants to feel emotional distress, the irrationalist is predisposed to respond irrationally to adversity due to conditioned irrational beliefs. On the other hand, the rationalist has pre-programmed his core beliefs towards rationality and trained himself to apply his conscious awareness to make rational choices about how he wants to experience life, and especially how he chooses to handle bouts with adversity. Likewise, you have these same choices. You can choose to become a rationalist and live a greater than life of success and happiness. That's all for now. Remember to stay positive. You'll be happier, healthier, and live longer.